A very good evening. You're watching Primetime News on TV1. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Stevin Machado.
And I'm Naveksha Gunasekara. Here are your headlines for tonight.
Heavy rain and flood alerts until the 30th. Former Foreign Employment Bureau Chief Mohammed Hilmi remanded. Korale Pattu Pradeshya Sabha Chairman and 4 others granted bail. Agreed to reinstall removed archaeological signs. Civil groups slam SLPP, saying people reject old tactics.
මේගොල්ලෝ සෙනග ගෙන්නුවේ බොහෝ දුරට ජාතිවාදයේ ආගම්වාදයේ පතුරවන. අද මේ මාලිමා ආණ්ඩුවේ ක්‍රියාකාරීත්වයේ හැමුවේ ජාතිවාදයේ සහ ආගම්වාදයේ පතුරවන්න ඒ වෙනුවෙන් ජනතාව උසිගන්වන්න බෑ.
Indika says Namal drives opposition agenda. SJB fires back.
The Department of Irrigation has warned of a potential risk of flash floods during sudden heavy rainfall, as water levels in major rivers have risen significantly. Meanwhile, the Department of Meteorology announced that heavy rainfall is expected across 6 provinces from today until the 30th of this month. Due to a developing low-pressure zone near the southern Andaman Sea, heavy showers are forecast in the northern, north-central, eastern, southern, over and western provinces. The Irrigation Department stated that based on past experiences and current river behavior patterns, there is a high risk of flash floods during periods of intense rainfall in these areas. Accordingly, residents in low-lying regions across the island are advised to remain vigilant and pay close attention to flood warnings and weather updates.
We
expect a notable increase in rainfall across the country. The main reason is the low pressure area in the lower atmosphere near the island, which shows clear signs of intensification. If it develops further, it could transform into a depression. Additionally, the system near the southern Andaman region is also showing signs of strengthening. These combined factors will lead to increased rainfall across the island.
Meanwhile, the Department of Meteorology has advised fishermen to avoid sailing in the southeastern Bay of Bengal until further notice due to adverse weather conditions. The National Building Research Organization has extended landslide warnings for multiple divisional secretariat divisions in 11 districts. Level 2 landslide warnings have been issued for areas in Badulla, Gaul, Kandy, Kegaul, Mathura and Ratnapura districts. Level 1 landslide warnings are in effect for areas in Colombo, Badulla, Kaluthara, Kandy, Kegaul, Kurunagala, Mathale, Mathura, Norelia and Ratnapura districts. Several reservoirs have begun releasing water and a number of areas are now submerged. At the Dambulla Ibban Katur Reservoir, 2 sluice gates have been opened, releasing water into Kalawava via the Dambulu Oya. At Rajangane Reservoir, 4 sluice gates have also been opened. In addition, reservoirs such as Kalawava, Polgolo Mahavali Dam, Upper Kutmale Reservoir and Nilamba Reservoir are currently discharging water. Meanwhile, water levels in several waterfalls have risen significantly. Due to heavy rainfall, several houses in Uva Paranagama Peravalla have been damaged. A landslide in Dodampagala Uva Paranagama caused damage to a shop and a house. On the Haliala Densilka Bakaduva Road, a landslide damaged a house, though no casualties were reported. Flooding has also occurred along the Jaila 201 road in Gampaha from Akaravita onwards. In Toppua, Trincomalee, around 10 houses were submerged following continuous rainfall over the past few days. Since last evening, heavy rains caused the Kiruma Ara to overflow, flooding low-lying areas and several roads in Makadra Ransagora. Near Bomburuella, a landslide prompted the Uva Parnagama Pradesh Sabha to advise the public to avoid visiting the area. Regarding preparedness for the prevailing weather conditions, the cabinet spokesperson provided an update today.
නොවැම්බර් 17 වෙනිදා ඉඳලා අද උදෑසන 6 දක්වා ගත වූ කාලය තුලදී ගංවතුර, ගස් කඩා වැටීම්, නායම් අතුළු මේ ස්වභාවික ආපදාවන් නිසා මරණ 10ක් වාර්තා වෙලා තියෙනවා.
From the 17th November until 6 a.m. today, 10 deaths have been reported due to floods, fallen trees and landslides. 6 deaths occurred in Kadugannawa, 1 in Rambukkana, 1 in Hambantota and 2 in Badulla. Currently, the government is operating 3 safe camps in Norelia, Ratnapura and Jaffna. The camp in Jaffna was established due to strong winds affecting the area. These 3 camps are sheltering 67 individuals from 19 families and relief efforts are ongoing. In Gaul, Mathura and Ratnapura districts, the tri-forces, particularly the Navy and the police, are assisting with transportation for school children sitting for exams. Meanwhile, the Met Department has issued a notice indicating the development of a low-pressure zone below and around Sri Lanka over the next 2 days. Accordingly, disaster management centres, divisional secretaries and district secretaries have been placed on alert. The tri-forces and police are prepared to intervene if necessary.
දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව යම් නිවේදනයක් නිකුත් කරලා තිබෙනවා ලංකාවට පහළින් සහ ලංකාව දෙපස යම් අවපීඩන කලාපයක් වර්ධනය වෙමින් පවතින බවට. ඒ අනුව ඒකට අපි ආපදා කළමනාකරණ මධ්‍යස්ථාන ප්‍රාදේශීය ලේකම් සහ දිස්ත්‍රික් ලේකම්වරු සූදානම් කරමින් පවතින අවශ්‍ය අවස්ථාවකදී මැදිහත් වීම සඳහා ත්‍රිවිධ හමුදාව සහ පොලිසිය ඒ වෙනුවෙන් කටයුතු කරමින් පවතිනවා.
The Department of Irrigation, or rather the Department of Irrigation, warns that there is a risk of flash floods in the event of heavy rainfall as water levels of the main rivers have risen. Meanwhile, the Department of Meteorology said that heavy rains are expected in 6 provinces across the island from today until the 30th of this month.
The Pahala Kadugannawa road remains closed due to the rockfall. A group of officials from the Road Development Authority inspected the site today. They took steps to construct a temporary safety fence using sandbags at the site of the rockfall and the location immediately above it where the roads has subsided. The RDA also took steps today to cut down and remove a tree that was posing a safety risk to the road. Senior Professor Atulasena Ratna, who inspected the location today, explained the situation around the site of the rockfall.
Now, when you look at this, there is another rock that is about to break off and fall. Similarly, there are more of them hidden in unseen places covered by these trees that could break off. Therefore, the first thing that needs to be done is to send geologists and engineers to all these locations and assess how sensitive the situation is. They need to assess how these rocks could fall. They need to mark them, prepare a map and identify the places where rocks are likely to fall. The first thing to do is evacuate people from those locations.
Meanwhile, the railway department states that the area surrounding Kadugannawa along the Colombo-Kandy railway line has been subjected to a special inspection. This was to ascertain if there was any risk of landslide or rockfall. A special team comprising officials from the railway department and the National Building Research Organisation, or the NBRO, jointly conducted the inspection. The railway department said that it has been revealed that there is no risk to the railway track in that area. Meanwhile, the flow of traffic along the Mavanala-Rambukkana road in Thalagolla that was disrupted due to a fallen tree has now been restored. The road was closed after a tree fell on a 3-wheeler, killing 1 person and injuring 3 others. The Colombo-Badulla main road that was closed at Kadiresan Kanuwa in Haldamulla due to the risk of rockfalls has now been reopened. Colombo hosted the APAD International Symposium 2025, organized by the Asia-Pacific Alliance for Disaster Management Sri Lanka, under the theme Strengthening Collaboration in an Era of Escalating Crisis.
The APAD International Symposium 2025 held under the theme Strengthening Collaboration in an Era of Escalating Crisis, organized by the Asia-Pacific Alliance for Disaster Management Sri Lanka, took place in Colombo. Panel discussions were also held on rethinking preparedness, implementing strategic interventions to navigate complex crises, enhancing operational readiness and strengthening emergency response and search and rescue capabilities.
The strength of response cannot be limited to paper. It should be operational and effective. Sri Lanka alone spent 23 billion and 25 billion rupees in humanitarian response in 2017 and 2018 respectively. Climate destruction is becoming more and more expensive. Climate disasters will send countries into a debt spiral. This loop of disaster, debt, recovery and then another disaster is affecting many countries, including ours. We may be prepared but not protected. The very recent mitigation has to take a lead role, and we need to prioritize climate resilience, infrastructure and sustainable development, mechanisms which will protect people and businesses. This would involve a combination of technical strategies along with policy changes and collaboration between private and public sectors. A call for development in line with demography. Every moment counts. Every cent or dollar matters, and every decision has immediate and long-term impacts for people we serve.
Professor Kwasi Kwamruzzaman, chairman of APAD International, delivered a powerful message. Crises, whether natural or man-made, are no longer isolated events but global challenges that demand collective action.
Today's symposium on strengthening collaboration in era of escalating crises is a very important issue. Crises are due to natural causes, such as earthquake, flood, cyclone, especially in Asia-Pacific region. Crises also are man-made. Climate change, war, economic, social, and recently political reasons. These crises are not isolated phenomena. Due to globalization, it affects all of us. Does not matter where it is originated. These crises are always escalating, threatening everyone's life. So the collaboration of all stakeholders, government, private sector, civil and military partnership, NGO, and especially the grassroots community are essential.
Japan's approach to resilience rooted in constant learning and adaptation, enabling the country to better prepare for and manage complex emergencies, was highlighted by the Japanese ambassador to Sri Lanka.
Just a few days ago, there was a tragic landslide in Pahara, Kaduganawa, not very far from the ancient capital of Kandy, causing loss of lives, injuries and property damages. Japan, as is widely known, is one of the countries most severely hit by natural disasters repeatedly and continuously. Last year, the Noto Peninsula earthquake caused a massive damage over 5 prefectures, and it was further exacerbated by the torrential rain in the same affected area earlier this year. The accumulation of experience, one disaster after another, tempered our national resilience, including all the segments and different layers of society, public and private sectors, local communities, schools, families, individuals. It enables us to constantly develop knowledge on how to better prepare ourselves and better deal with complex situations.
The ambassador also spoke on strategic cooperation with Sri Lanka on disaster preparedness, digitalization and maritime security.
Let me touch upon briefly some of the most recent bilateral cooperation endeavors between the governments of Japan and Sri Lanka. By the grant assistance of the government of Japan, a project for installing Doppler radars is being implemented in Puttalam to enhance the capability of meteorological projections and early warning, and a Yanlong project for the digitalization of terrestrial television broadcasting system is also in progress in Sri Lanka, which includes in its scope digitalized warning system during an emergency. With the Sri Lankan military forces, the self-defense forces of Japan have been assisting the Sri Lankan military in its capacity building for search and rescue. Training programs for humanitarian assistance and disaster relief are also being scheduled early next year. including aerial medical evacuation. And most recently, when His Excellency the President Dissanayake visited Japan in September this year, the two governments signed an agreement to provide unmanned aerial vehicles to the Sri Lankan Navy for enhancing maritime surveillance and disaster response capabilities under the new assistance scheme called Official Security Assistance.
The APAD International Symposium 2025 also featured multiple panel discussions on disaster prevention.
Colombo Chief Magistrate Asanga S. Bodharagama today remanded former chairman of the Foreign Employment Bureau Mohammed Hilmi, who was arrested by the Bribery Commission on corruption charges. He was remanded until the 9th of December.
Former chairman of the Sri Lanka Foreign Employment Bureau, Mohammed Hilmi, who was arrested while giving a statement to the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption, was produced before the Colombo Chief Magistrate Court around 1:45 p.m. today. Investigating officers told the court that all arrangements had been made to select an institution to provide training on external activities to officers of the Foreign Employment Bureau in January 2024. However, they alleged that the suspect, Mohammed Hilmi, contacted the Deputy General Manager Administration of the Foreign Employment Bureau and pressured him to select a company named JSF Holding for the contract. The officers further stated that although the Bureau had a dedicated procurement division, the suspect instructed officers to carry out procurement activities through the Human Resources Division. They added that JSF Holdings submitted its bid after the official deadline, and when the bid was initially rejected, the suspect allegedly pressured officers to accept it. Appearing on behalf of the suspect, President's Counsel Nalinda Indatissa made a bail application and said that the suspect had fully cooperated for the investigation. President's Counsel Nalinda Indatissa said that although the Bribery Commission has alleged that the suspect had influenced the officials had not made any comments or notes on their books regarding these matters. He added that the suspect did not personally gain any financial benefit and requested that bail be granted. Colombo Chief Magistrate Asanga S. Bodharagama, noting that the suspect faces charges under the Public Property Act, said that there has to be exceptional circumstances for granting bail to the suspect. The bail application was therefore rejected and the suspect was remanded until the 9th of December.
The Chennai Magistrates Court ordered the release of the Korale Pattu Pradesh Sabha chairman and 4 others on personal bail of 500,000 rupees each in connection with the removal of archaeological name boards. This order was issued after the chairman and the group appeared before the court today.
The Chennai Magistrate Ratif Ahmed directed the Korale Pattu Pradesh Sabha chairman and the others to reinstall the removed name boards. Police have taken into custody from the Batiklo district within the premises of Korale Pattu Pradesh Sabha. One suspect was initially arrested in connection with the incident, while police confirmed that the chairman and 4 others surrendered before the Chennai Magistrates Court. During the proceedings, the suspects agreed to reinstall the removed name boards. The Department of Archaeology informed the court that based on this agreement, there was no need to proceed further with the case. After considering the facts, the Chennai Magistrates Court postponed the case until the 15th of this month. The court also instructed the police to monitor and report on the reinstallation of the name boards before the next hearing. Former Member of Parliament and President's Counsel M.A. Sumandiran appeared on behalf of the suspects, including the chairman of the Korale Pattu Pradesh Sabha, who represents the Ilangai Tamil Arasu Katchi.
Meanwhile, Cabinet spokesperson Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa emphasized that the law is enforced equally for everyone.
The Department of Archaeology is a government institution. Removing those boards that were set up by the Department of Archaeology is damage done to government property. Accordingly, the police will report facts to the court. The police will then decide under which act the case will be filed. Because as you know, the act that will be used here is generally decided based on the financial value of these items. However, we will not give any kind of leniency for these actions. The law will be enforced equally on everyone, regardless of where such incidents occur, because we cannot allow this kind of things to happen.
The Janabala Collective expressed its views at a media briefing regarding the opposition coalition rally held in Nugegoda on the 21st.
First, we need to ask, have the people of this country forgotten everything? Have they forgotten the past? Why is Namal, Pohutua, UNP, this group providing us with these jokes? We know who this Prince Namal is. We know who this prince is. We know that there are serious allegations against him. There are multiple cases pending against him and his royal family, one of the most corrupt political dynasties in this country. They looted national wealth and bankrupted the nation. Namal is currently facing a major case involving the misuse of 70 million rupees in the Krish transaction. He is also linked to the Tajuddin murder and other abuse of state power during the Rajapaksa regime. Namal Rajapaksa is clearly not fit to lead this country or its people.
ගම්වල මේගොල්ලෝ ස්ථාපිත කරලා තිබුණා දේශපාලනේ ඔවුන්ගේ කණ්ඩායමක් ගල්.
These people once controlled villages through their networks, gangs involved in sand mining, timber cutting and other rackets. Today, under the new government, they have lost that influence. To bring crowds, they now rely on massive funding from the underworld and drug networks. But even those operations have weakened under this administration. Therefore, they have been unable to get people using their support as well. They had brought people for this rally by spreading racism and religious extremism. Under this NPP government, their old tactics of spreading racism and religious extremism no longer work. All three tactics that they used to bring people have failed. That's why they failed to mobilize people. Harin called Namal a prince and wrote the script for the opposition. We ask, what is the UNP's basis for joining this rally? We want to know that. If Namal's goal is to undermine Sajid and take his place, and if the UNP wants to join hands with the SJB, why did the UNP attend this rally?
සජිත් එරෙහිව පවත්වන විපක්ෂයේ රැලියකට ඇයි UNP එක යන්නේ?
නාමල් රාජපක්ෂගේ කතාව ඇතුලේ ඒ කතාව ඇතුලේ තිබ්බ ලොකු තගක්
Namal Rajapaksa in his speech issued several threats. He threatened the state sector employees and law enforcement officials. He implied saying we will look at what you did when we come into power. At a time when the law is moving toward independence and when the state criminal investigation department and other law enforcement agencies are working in that direction, he made this remark at a rally surrounded by a group of people accused of corruption. This threat was directed at those law enforcement agencies and state employees.
කරන ආයතන වලට සහ රාජ්‍ය සේවකයන්ට කරේ.
අන්ත දෙමළ ජාතිකවාදී කොටස් වගේම ඒ කට්ටිය අතර
There is an unspoken alliance between the extreme Tamil nationalist groups and those groups. Namal goes to meet with the Sinhala nationalist groups in the south and then meets Sumandiran. And some other members from Namal's party go to meet the Jaffna Municipal Council members. If these meetings were building genuine reconciliation, we would have no issue. But these meetings are not being strengthened through real alliances or cooperation. Instead, they are being driven by Sinhala extreme nationalism and Tamil extreme nationalism. This is what is happening, and it is damaging the space that has been created for reconciliation. I am saying that we need to be aware of these issues.
A controversial situation has arisen between the Samaki Jana Balawegaya and the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna over the Nugegoda rally held on the 21st. Now, was the intent of the Nugegoda rally that promoted Namal Rajapaksa as a prince an attempt to challenge Sajid Premadas's position as the leader of the opposition? Now, today, journalists questioned the Samaki Jana Balawegaya and the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna on this matter, and this is how they responded.
We wanted to bring everyone together onto a platform where the issues of the people could be highlighted. I believe the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna has not yet decided on working together politically. But at a critical moment, everyone will have to unite and do these kind of things. If these fall on deaf ears, everyone will have to unite to make some noise.
කියන්න වගේ ඇහෙන්නේ නැත්තම් ඔක්කොම එකතු වෙලා තමයි ওই වගේ සද්දයක් දාන්න වෙන්නේ. සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මැතිතුමා
If Sajid Premadasa had not acted with foresight and wisdom, we would be facing unnecessary accusations, claiming that we sided with people who have been rejected and people who do not have any principles. I want to remind everyone that as a party, we are the main opposition representing principled politics in this country. We are willing to discuss and cooperate with anyone as long as there are policies involved. We will not act without a policy just for the sake of doing politics. We will not remain idle and allow politics to further worsen the destruction this country has already endured.
පෞද්ගලික මතය මේ කුමාරයාව මේ විරුද්ධ පැත්තේ පුටුවේ ඉඳන් ඕනේ නෑනේ ඕන කරන පුටුවටම ගෙනහිලා
In my personal view, the prince need not be placed in the opposition leader's chair, but rather in the position meant for him. We are not concerned about the chair. Our focus is on doing our work as the opposition. Sajith Premadasa is continuing his politics. We have no such need. We don't mind if we have just 3 members. The opposition leader did not attend our rally. I believe that is because there was no point in speaking to the person in that position that such a large number of people came to Nugegoda at Namal Rajapaksa's invitation.
නෑ දැනෙන්නේ දැනෙන තැන මෙයයි කියලා නිසා තමයි මං හිතන්නේ අතිවිශාල ජනතාවක් නුගේගොඩට නාමල් රාජපක්ෂ මැතිතුමාගේ ආරාධනෙන් ආවේ.
දේශපාලන පක්ෂයක් එක්ක කටයුතු කරනවා නම් අපි පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ඉල්ලන්නේ.
When we work with a political party, the first thing we ask is not who the prince is, but what their policies are. We do not join political camps to make princes. We have no reason to work with those involved in such schemes. So what happened on the 21st? The people who said they would come did not show up. Those who did attend spoke about unrelated matters. They thought they could involve us too and label us, saying Sajith is also a thief and a crook. What would they have done if we had joined? They would have claimed that Sajith is supporting the prince. Now, there are even rumors of a president and a prime minister there. But we are not fools, are we?
No, I don't think so. Why do we need the opposition leader's position? He can carry on the opposition leader's role. Namal Rajapaksa will carry out his work of the opposition. He doesn't need these leadership positions because at the end of this journey, he is a leader who can make decisions for this country and work with a straight back. There were those who had registered for those positions. It was Ranil Wickremesinghe who was the most accomplished at holding the position of opposition leader. Sajith Premadasa is now coming to that level.
Sajith Premadasa mahattaya.
Sajith Premadasa mahattayage Paul.
How many insulting stories have been spread about Sajith Premadasa's family life? If anyone had such a thing about my wife, I would never tolerate it. Show this to Ranil Wickremesinghe. They embarrassed him by calling him Mr. Bean and ruined him. Then that same group came and damaged Sajith's reputation as well. At times they lied to us as well. When I was in the UNP, we had not associated with Sajith this much. We were lied to. What is being done by spreading these lies? They destroy great leaders in our country. This is part of the movement to bring forward puppets.
Singer Sangeet Vijay Surya has requested for laws to be passed to allow the immediate destruction of narcotics seized by security forces. He made this request today during a meeting with President Anuru Kumar Dissanayake.
Sangeet Vijay Surya, the leader of the popular band Vayo, previously served as an active officer in the Police Narcotics Bureau.
කලින් ආණ්ඩුවල මද්‍රව්‍ය මේ ආණ්ඩුවේ වගේ ඇල්ලුවෙත් නැහැ. ඔය කිලෝ කීපයක්.
During the tenure of previous governments, drugs were not seized the way this government does. Even when a few kilos were seized, they either turned into flour or turned into something that wasn't drugs anymore. The dangerous part of this is that although they show that the drugs were seized, those same drugs end up back in market. This government is seizing a lot of drugs. I told this to the president. He really has a genuine desire to protect the people of our country. Our people are suffering. What I have been saying for years is that the drugs that are seized must be destroyed immediately. So today I came after being invited by him and I made a request to create a law for this, because once something is taken in as evidence to court, it cannot be destroyed. The law prevents it. There are many reasons behind that, but a new law should be made so that when drugs are seized, a magistrate can be brought to the spot, the government analyst can be brought, samples can be taken, and the drugs must be destroyed immediately. The president promised that such a law would be created. We proposed things like this to the previous authorities as well. When I was at the Narcotics Bureau, I proposed it, but nothing happened. Back then, politicians had no need to stop it because they too were involved. But now, everyone respects the program this government is carrying out. Still, certain things must be done, and this is what I propose.
අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම මේ ආණ්ඩුවේ මේ ගෙනියන වැඩපිළිවෙලට රෙස්පෙක්ට් කරනවා. හැබැයි අර දේවලුත් වේය යුතුයි කියලා මම යෝජනා කරනවා.
The recently signed Memorandum of Understanding on Defence Cooperation between Sri Lanka and the United States has now been made public. The State Ministry of Defence presented the agreement in Parliament on 2 separate occasions last week.
What is the Sri Lanka-US Defence MOU? This is a defense cooperation understanding agreement with the United States. The agreement was signed on the 14th of November at the Ministry of Defence in Colombo. Signatories include retired Air Vice Marshal Sampato Yakonta, Secretary of Sri Lanka's Ministry of Defence Brigadier General Trenton Gibson, Adjutant General of Montana National Guard, and Julie Chung, US Ambassador to Sri Lanka. What does this agreement entail? The agreement lays out a comprehensive framework for collaboration across multiple strategic areas. The MOU covers 11 major domains, including aviation operations, maintenance and safety, maritime domain awareness, cyber defense and communications security, leadership and personnel development, military, medical and engineering activities, operational logistics and peacekeeping operations, chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear and environmental defense, and cultural exchange programs. Any other areas are mutually decided. What are the understandings established under this Memorandum of Understanding? The agreed terms under this MOU must be documented and exchanged in writing between both parties. Decisions regarding the scope of these agreements and their implementation should be mutually shared in written form. This MOU does not constitute a legally binding agreement. The MOU will remain in effect for 5 years from the date of signing. If neither party provides notice to terminate at the end of 5 years, the MOU will automatically renew for another 5-year term. However, either party may withdraw from the MOU at any time. What is the Montana National Guard? It is a component of the US Department of Defense and the US Armed Forces. Under the President's directive, it has the authority to operate anywhere in the country when required. The US President holds the power to deploy the Guard during emergencies or urgent security needs. What is the US Coast Guard District 13? The primary responsibility of the US Coast Guard is to safeguard national borders and protect America's economic prosperity. Additionally, it ensures security within US maritime zones. District 13, headquartered in Seattle, Washington, oversees search and rescue operations in the Pacific Northwest, border security, enforcement of fishing regulations, inspection of commercial vessels, protection of strategic infrastructure and critical facilities.
News First with the people. News First, main sponsor.
Valuable FD, the symbol of stability. Valuable FD, the symbol of stability.
Welcome back. You're watching Prime Time News. The IMF Executive Board is to decide Sri Lanka's fate on the 15th of December, subject to Sri Lanka's completing of the prior action on the budget.
The International Monetary Fund has confirmed that its executive board meeting on Sri Lanka's 5th review under the extended fund facility is scheduled for the 15th December, contingent on the country completing key prior actions related to its recently announced budget. A staff-level agreement was reached on the 9th October between IMF officials and Sri Lankan authorities. Once the review is approved by the IMF Executive Board, Sri Lanka will have access to $347 million in financing. The IMF is currently assessing Sri Lanka's budget, which targets 7% growth in 2026, significantly higher than IMF projections. The IMF emphasized that structural reforms remain critical to lifting Sri Lanka's growth potential.
Minister of Energy Engineer Kumara Jayakode visited the Kilinochchi district today.
Minister of Energy, Engineer Kumara Jayakode visited the Punarin wind power project in Kilinochchi today. A discussion was held at the Kilinochchi District Secretariat Conference Hall. NPP Member of Parliament K. Ilan Kumaran, Kilinochchi District Secretary Subramaniam Muralidharan, departmental engineers, officials and others were present at the discussion.
As a policy of the government, we have paid more attention towards the development of the northern province. As a step in that, policy plans are being prepared to harness the wind power in the northern province for the betterment of the country and her people. Accordingly, we have proposed to set up a 204 megawatt wind power project in Veeraville and a 234 megawatt wind power project in Punarin. We will call for competitive bids under the competitive procurement process. We have begun looking for investors for these projects. We held a successful discussion with the state officials, including the divisional secretary, the regional secretaries and the assistant secretaries and other officials of the government regarding the issues including the allotment of necessary land for these projects. We have taken steps to start these two projects very soon. Through this project, a large amount of foreign exchange can be saved, and we have taken steps to carry out this project in a way that does not pollute the environment. These activities will be carried out in such a way as not to affect the people living in this area. We also plan on providing the people in this area with the social and education facilities that they need.
The inauguration ceremony of the 9th ABU Media Summit on Climate Action and Disaster Prevention, hosted by the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation, was held in Colombo.
The inauguration of the 9th ABU Media Summit on Climate Action and Disaster Prevention took place in Colombo. The two-day summit is held under the theme Building Resilience Through Media for a Cleaner, Greener and Safer Tomorrow, emphasizing the crucial role media plays in promoting climate action and disaster risk reduction globally. Among those present were Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa, Media Secretary Dr. Anil Jasinghe, as well as the Chairman of the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation, Gihan De Silva.
The Asia Pacific is one of the most disaster-affected regions in the world. Communities across our member countries continue to experience the impacts of extreme weather, environmental degradation, and slow onset hazards. For them, information is not abstract, it is a lifeline. Since the first summit in 2014, our collective work has shown how powerful media can be in crisis situations. Through collaboration between broadcasters, governments, UN agencies, scientific institutions, and humanitarian organizations, the initiative has helped strengthen early warning communication, build newsroom preparedness, and humanitarian organizations to promote information and public action. We are also pleased to partner with Sri Lanka's Clean Sri Lanka initiative, which aligns strongly with our regional efforts to promote environmental responsibility, climate awareness, and disaster prevention. As we look ahead, the role of media remains indispensable. Through trust, clarity, and collaboration, we can guide our communities through uncertainty and inspire action towards a cleaner, greener, and a safer future.
Speaker Dr. Jagat Wickramaratne stressed on why Sri Lanka must move towards a cleaner, greener economy.
Sri Lanka is especially vulnerable because we are a small island with low elevation and a strong depend on our natural ecosystem. For many years, Sri Lanka has been ranked among the countries most affected by extreme weather. When media organizations are strong and ready, our communities become safer. Media can also help Sri Lanka shift away from fossil fuels and move towards low-carbon, climate-friendly solutions. However, building resilience is not something we can do alone. We need cooperation among governments, experts, communities, and international partners. This is why the work of ABU is so important. By bringing together media and disaster risk experts, the ABU helps share knowledge with millions of people across the region. Ladies and gentlemen, climate change is the greatest challenge of our time, but it also presents an important opportunity for innovations, cooperation, and leadership. The media has a powerful role in guiding our societies towards a safer and more sustainable future.
Keynote speaker for the event, Professor Mohan Munasinghe, shared his insights on sustainable development.
Global warming is proven. The poor will suffer the most. This is climate injustice because it is the rich who have put the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, but it will be the poor who suffer most, and Asia as particular. But there is a solution, and that is sustainable development. And that is why climate change is only one of 17 sustainable development goals, because climate change must be addressed together with all the other problems. It cannot be addressed by itself. But I think the media can play a very, very big role in leading us to this world of sustainability, prosperity, and peace in the future.
The summit also included a panel discussion featuring several prominent figures. The summit, organized in collaboration with the Asia Pacific Broadcasting Union, drew a distinguished gathering including over 75 international delegates, local participants from various media, climate action and disaster management organizations, and key representatives from prominent regional broadcasters.
Sri Lanka has been placed on the UN's 2026 anti-torture mission list.
Sri Lanka will be one of 6 countries visited by the UN Subcommittee on Prevention of Torture in 2026 as part of a renewed global push to strengthen safeguards against torture and ill treatment. The announcement comes after the UN overcame severe liquidity constraints that forced the postponement of several missions this year. The SPT confirmed that deferred visits to Burundi, France and Mexico will now take place next year, alongside newly scheduled missions to Paraguay, Rwanda and Sri Lanka. Under its mandate, the SPT conducts unannounced visits to places of deprivation of liberty such as prisons, police stations, psychiatric hospitals and immigration detention centers, while working closely with governments, civil society and human rights institutions to prevent torture worldwide.
Sri Lanka is on track to make 2025 the year of highest tourist arrivals. Minister of Foreign Affairs Vijay Theherat expressed confidence that the country will reach its target of 2.4 million visitors by the 31st of December.
අපි මේ වසරේ ලංකාවට වැඩියෙන්ම සංචාරකයෝ පැමිණෙන වසර බවට පත් වෙනවා. මිලියන 2.4ක ඉලක්කය දෙසැම්බර් 31 වෙනකොට සම්පූර්ණ කරන්න පුළුවන් කියන විශ්වාසය දැන් තියෙනවා. මේ තත්ත්වය ඇති වුණේ ප්‍රධානම හේතුව තමයි අපේ රට තුළ ඇති වෙලා තියෙන ආර්ථික දේශපාලන වෙනස. ජාතිවාදී ගැටුම් නැතුව, ආගම්වාදී ගැටුම් කෝලහල නැතුව රට තුළ හොඳ ශක්තිමත් ස්ථාවරත්වයක් ඇති වුණාම සංචාරකයන්ට අපේ ලංකාවට එන්න හිතෙනවා. දැන් අපිට තියෙනවා අභියෝගයක් මෙතනින් එහාට අපේ සංචාරක ශේෂ්ඨය සංවර්ධනය කරන්න. මේ බස්නාහිර කොළඹ කේන්ද්‍රීයව ගත්තොත් හෝටල් කාමර ගොඩක් තියෙනවා. හැබැයි අපි අපේ ඈත ඩෙස්ටිනේෂන් වලට ගියොත් බණ්ඩාරවෙල, බදුල්ල අර පැත්තෙන් අම්පාර පැත්තට ගියොත් යාපනයේ අලුත් ගමනාන්තය ගැන හිතුවොත් ඒ හෝටල් වල විශාල අඩුවක් තියෙනවා. ඒ නිසා මම ඉල්ලීමක් කරනවා විශේෂ මැදිහත් වීමක් කරන්න. එවැනි ඩෙස්ටිනේෂන් වලත් හෝටල් ඇති කරන්න මැදිහත් වෙන්න. ඒකට අවශ්‍ය කරන ඉඩම් ලබා දෙන්න සංචාරක මණ්ඩලයේ සතු ඉඩම් ප්‍රමාණයක් තියෙනවා. දැනටමත් ඔබට අවස්ථාව සපයලා තියෙනවා. ඒ සඳහා ව්‍යාපෘති යෝජනා ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න. දැනට එහෙම ලැබිච්ච ප්‍රමාණයක් තියෙනවා. තවත් අපි ආරාධනා කරනවා එහෙම ඉදිරිපත් වෙන්න.
The Hotels Association of Sri Lanka celebrated its 60th anniversary in Colombo. The commemorative gala, which marked 6 decades of service to Sri Lankan hospitality, was graced by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Employment and Tourism Vijay Theherat, alongside leading industry veterans.
Tourism has once again become a key driver of Sri Lanka's economic recovery, with 2025 showing consistent month-on-month revenue growth. International donor agencies agree that tourism is Sri Lanka's low-hanging fruit, an industry capable of rapidly transforming our economy if managed strategically. However, recent data of the central bank reveals the challenges we must address urgently. While October arrivals increased by 21%, earnings grew only by 0.3%. Year-to-date revenue is up 4.9% over 2024, but still 33% below 2018. Tourists are increasingly exploring emerging destinations such as Hirikatiya, Mirissa, the Deep South, Arugambe, most recently Jaffna. This highlights the untapped potential across the island, potential that can support millions more tourists per year round. What are our aspirations for 2030? The government has set a target of 8 billion in tourism earnings by 2030. I firmly believe that with a unified industry effort, strategic marketing and accelerated infrastructure development, we can easily go beyond this.
Chairman of the Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority, Buddhika Hevavasam, also shared his views at the event.
One factor is about the particular numbers that we achieved. I think it has been highlighted in many occasions that we have been reaching the numbers but not the revenue. So there are a few factors we need to be considered. The exchange rate difference on 2018 and 2025, which is actually a factor of consideration itself. And if you also being considered about the UNWTO data, you see like say almost all the destinations are having a kind of a reduced revenue. And also there are certain other factors which is unique to our country. Now it's all about branding, it's all about segmenting, it's all about creating value and the revenue. Yes, this is a year of challenge and we achieve the challenge to a certain extent. But this is not good enough. We need revenue to be increased.
With a vision for the advancement of the local tourism industry, the Tourist Hotels Association of Sri Lanka, then known as the Ceylon Tourist Hotels Association, held its inaugural meeting on the 9th March 1965. Having transpired a whole year prior to the establishment of the Ceylon Tourist Board, the event is celebrated as a significant milestone in the evolvement of the modern tourism industry in Sri Lanka.
A volcano erupted in northern Ethiopia for the first time in nearly 12,000 years on Sunday, with winds moving at a speed of 100 to 120 kilometers per hour, carrying the ash plumes to many countries, including India.
The Haile Gobi volcano in the upper region of Ethiopia erupted on Sunday morning, and the ash clouds entered Delhi, which is already struggling with the toxic air late last night, affecting flight operations. The ash plumes, thousands of feet up in the atmosphere, first entered Gujarat and drifted towards Rajasthan, Delhi, Haryana and Punjab. The India Meteorological Department said the ash clouds are drifting towards China and will move away from Indian skies by 7:30 p.m. Indian time. In a statement, the IMD said, quote, "High-level winds carried the ash cloud from Ethiopia across the Red Sea to Yemen and Oman and further over the Arabian Sea towards western and northern India." End quote. India's aviation body issued an advisory asking airlines to strictly avoid published volcanic ash-affected areas and flight levels and adjust flight planning, routing and fuel considerations based on the latest advisories. The Directorate General of Civil Aviation asked the airlines to immediately report any suspected ash encounter, including engine performance anomalies or cabin smoke.
President Donald Trump touted relations with China as extremely strong, following a call with Chinese leader Xi Jinping, who told Trump that Taiwan's return to China is a key part of Beijing's vision for the world order.
The call, not previously flagged by either country, came weeks after the two leaders met in South Korea, where they agreed to a framework for a trade deal that has yet to be finalized. China is locked in its biggest diplomatic crisis for years with US ally Japan. This month, Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takahashi said any Chinese attack on democratically governed Taiwan could trigger a Japanese military response. US President Donald Trump said, quote-unquote, "Our relationship with China is extremely strong. This call was a follow-up to our highly successful meeting in South Korea 3 weeks ago. Since then, there has been significant progress on both sides in keeping our agreements current and accurate." He said he accepted Xi's invitation to visit Beijing in April and had invited Xi for a state visit to the US later in the year. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt told reporters the call with Xi was focused on trade and lasted about an hour. "Call me anytime" was the message Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takahashi said she received from US President Donald Trump on Tuesday in their first phone call since Tokyo's leader sparked a major diplomatic bust-up with China. Takahashi's off-the-cuff remark in Parliament earlier this month that a hypothetical Chinese attack on Taiwan could trigger Japanese military action prompted a furious response from Beijing that has included a boycott on travel to Japan. China claims Taiwan, which sits just over 100 kilometers from Japanese territory, and has not ruled out using force to take control of it. The island's government rejects Beijing's claim and says only Taiwan's people can decide their future. Trump has not commented publicly on the dispute between Japan, a key US security ally, and rival superpower China, a silence that analysts say will be concerning to some officials in Tokyo. In brief remarks following her call with Trump on Tuesday, Takahashi sought to dispel any concerns that the US president did not have her back. Taiwan Premier Cho Jung-tai said that a return to China is not an option for the island's 23 million people after Chinese President Xi Jinping pressed his country's sovereignty claims in a call with US President Donald Trump. She told Trump on Monday that Taiwan's return to China at the end of World War II was a key part of Beijing's vision for the world order. Taiwan's democratically elected government strongly rejects China's stance. Cho told reporters outside Parliament, referring to the island's formal name, quote-unquote, "We must once again emphasize that the Republic of China, Taiwan, is a fully sovereign and independent country." He added, quote-unquote, "For the 23 million people of our nation, return is not an option. This is very clear."
All preparations have been finalized for the second edition of the Chamatkara Rathriya concert, scheduled to take place this Saturday, the 29th. Now, this event will be held at the Dharmaraja College Auditorium in Kandy.
The first edition of the Chamatkara Rathriya concert, featuring the songs of Dr. Victor Ratnayaka and the late Priya Surya Sena, was held in Colombo on the 2nd of last August. The second edition will take place in Kandy, featuring a blend of veteran, young and popular artists. Nalin Pereira, Nadimal Pereira, Raini Charuka and Mihindu Aryaratna are among the performers set to take the stage at the Dharmaraja College Auditorium this Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Vinuja Tarushka, grandson of Dr. Victor Ratnayaka, is also scheduled to perform. Adding to the lineup, Lakshita Surya Sena and Hiroshi Surya Sena, children of veteran singer Priya Surya Sena, will join this colourful concert. A talented 12-member orchestra led by Mahesh Denipitiya, known for creating vibrant musical experiences, will accompany the performers. The concert is organised by Sirasa FM. Tickets can be purchased via ticketsministry.com or by calling 077 569 3131.
The CIPM Great HR Awards 2025 took place in Colombo today.
The Great HR Awards 2025 celebrates organizations that set the standard in people strategy, culture, technology and industrial relations. This prestigious event celebrates enterprises that turn vision into value through progressive human resource practices, inspiring engagement, innovation and success across industries. Organizations that redefine the standards of excellence in people management and workplace culture were honored at the event today. MTV Channel Private Limited were declared winners for the Advertising and Media Services under the Sector Awards category. People's Bank bagged the Excellence Award for Best Talent Acquisition. Demo PLC won the Sector Award in the Diversified Group of Companies category. Laughs Holdings Limited came in runners-up, while the Capital Maharaja Group won the Merit Award. Aecon Group won the award for Hospitality, Tourism and Leisure under the Sector Awards category, while Fox Resort Private Limited won the Runners-Up Award. Dialogue Asiata PLC won the Excellence Award for Best Rewards Management.
Tonight, beautiful Sri Lanka takes you to the beautiful Kirinta beach in Hambantota.
Located about 12 kilometers from Tissa Maharama in Hambantota, this stunning coastal stretch is the Kirinta Beach. It serves as vibrant habitat for a diverse range of native and migratory birds. Its proximity to the fishing harbour also offers visitors a unique opportunity to observe the daily rhythm of the local fishing industry, adding an authentic cultural experience to the natural beauty of the area.
Beautiful Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka won the fifth encounter of the T20 Tri-Series in their match against Zimbabwe. Sri Lanka won the match by 9 wickets in Rawalpindi today. Sri Lanka successfully chased down the target of 147 in just 16.2 overs with 22 balls to spare. The schedule for the 2026 ICC Men's T20 World Cup Cricket Tournament was unveiled in Mumbai, India today.
The schedule for the 2026 ICC Men's T20 World Cup has been officially unveiled following a high-profile ceremony held today in Mumbai, India. The tournament, which is being jointly hosted by Sri Lanka and India, is set to run from 7th of February to 8th of March. The unveiling ceremony saw the attendance of several key figures in international cricket, including International Cricket Council Chairman Jay Shah, alongside Sri Lanka cricket officials, President Shammi Silva and CEO Ashley De Silva. They were joined by a large contingent of star Indian male and female cricketers, highlighting the significance of the event. The tournament will feature a total of 55 matches involving 20 teams, which have been divided into 4 groups for the preliminary round. Group A consists of India, Pakistan, the United States of America, the Netherlands and Namibia. Group B includes Australia, Sri Lanka, Ireland, Zimbabwe and Oman. Competing in Group C are England, West Indies, Bangladesh, Nepal and Italy. Finally, Group D features New Zealand, South Africa, Afghanistan, Canada and the United Arab Emirates. Matches played in Sri Lanka will be played at the R. Premadasa Stadium, the SSC grounds in Colombo and the Pallekele International Cricket Stadium. The opening day of the tournament will see 3 matches take place. The Sri Lankan team will begin its campaign on 8th of February against Ireland at the R. Premadasa Stadium.
And with that, we wrap up Primetime News for tonight.
Thank you for watching.
Good night.